Next we'll install the common components. That just means the components that would go into any VoiceSet, regardless of what other features you've chosen for your VoiceSet. And for this we're only going to be using the enclosure bottom, but here are the other parts. We'll need this extension cable for USB connection. We'll need this extension cable for the micro SD card. We'll need our Arduino and a terminal block for the Arduino to go into. About 4 of these little screws, some paper that I've already folded. We'll show you where that goes. The battery and this reset switch. And the reset switch comes with a lock washer, but we're going to throw that in the trash. This is the regular nut. There's a little lock washer that comes with it. I've already taken that off and thrown that in the trash. And last we'll need just a pair of scissors, or you could probably do the same thing with an envelope opener. You'll see here in a moment how it's used. So I'm going to move some of this stuff. Oh, flathead screwdriver, small flathead screwdriver, and a smallish Phillips head screwdriver. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is clear out some space for myself. And I'm going to focus on these 2 pieces. The block, it's a breakout block that the Arduino plugs into, and by the way, it normally comes with a piece of foam attached. You can take that off and throw that away as well. Just make sure you're not hitting this with any static electricity. All right, so first step is note that there are some little screws. Like I say, use this guy to point. Some little screws here that sit at the top of these pedestals. We're going to take those out, and you only have 4, and they're really tiny, so just be careful you don't lose them. You may find that you're spinning the entire post, in which case grab some sort of pliers to hold the post while you're unscrewing the little screw that goes in the end there. So I'm just feeling to see if the whole post is spinning. Then I want to be careful and set that aside where it won't get knocked off the surface. You may find that using one of these kind of screwdrivers where you can swap out the tips and it has a magnet inside can be helpful not losing things. But if all you have is a standard old Phillips head screwdriver, you can use that too. And a little bit more. So be careful not lose that. Next here. Right, the post didn't rotate on me. I can get rid of this for now. Alright, so you'll notice that there are a bunch of pins on the underside of the Arduino, and there's a jack here for a USB connection. You see there's a drawing on the end of this that represents that USB connection. It just shows you how to orient the Arduino. So I'm going to line these pins up, and this can be a little scary because you got a lot of pins going into a lot of holes, and you want to make sure they all go in smoothly and that nobody's getting bent along the way. And so just take your time here, line the pins up carefully, make sure you look down the ends, make sure nobody's out of a slot, and then just gently kind of work them in. And it'll go down. They won't go all the way in. They'll go down until the Arduino rests on the post. So this is perfectly good, just like it is there. Now we're going to take these little screws and put them back into place to hold the Arduino. Whoop, almost lost that. Put the Arduino, mount the Arduino to this breakout board. Should you lose one of these screws, no big deal. Just put the remainder in. There'll be more than enough to hold the Arduino down, keep it from getting away. Yeah, almost a little magnetized there. Okay. Smaller, more nimble fingers work better for this job especially. Okay, now we can set this aside. Come back to it in a minute. When you look at, let's make this over here better. When you look at the bottom, you'll see a post up here, and if you look closely at the inside of the post, you'll see it has some small filaments of plastic filament. We're going to clean those out, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the underside, and this is where I'm going to use the scissors because it's got kind of a sharp edge. My goal here is just to clean out those little threads. They're only, they're only one layer thick. Clean out those threads without opening this hole up any more than it is already. So I'll just stick this in here, kind of spin it around. Like I said, you can do this with a letter opener too. I just like the fact that this has a little bit sharper edge, but then you're also running the risk of opening this hole bigger than you'd like. That hole right there. Okay, now this is the most frustrating part for me of the entire assembly. All right, I'm going to take the reset switch here, and I'm going to bring it in to this post from the top down. I've already got the nut off. I just rest it right there. And now I'm going to try and slide this nut on top of that post from above. And it's probably going to be a little bit cattywampus. Oh, kind of fell down there. Good. If it does that, you're in better shape than I was a second ago. Now just gently. I'm just turning the whole switch, or it is a little switch, turning it from the underside, trying to get it started on that nut. And you got to turn it several times. Ooh, I keep bringing you off camera. Keep turning it several times. And by the way, I'm trying to turn it with just the barrel here. It's going to be tempting to turn it with these wires. Try to resist that. But if you are going to turn it with the wires, be gentle, because we don't want to break these wires off of this base. And then you have to get another one of the reset switches out. So I keep turning that until by hand I can't turn it too much further. Good enough. All right, so those look like that. We'll deal with those in a minute. Okay, time to insert the battery. The battery's going to go in between these little posts in here. Should fit nice and smooth. See, the wire comes out pretty close to this post here. So just kind of bend it back a little bit. And then I want to protect this surface from the underside of this breakout board. So I just took some paper and I folded it twice, and then I cut off a little bit in this corner because I see the wire coming up here. I'm just going to set that over the battery. Next, I'm going to take our terminal block and I'm going to put it on top of that paper. All those terminal connections, they're going to come toward me, away from the wire of the battery, away from the reset switch. Is what that is. I'll just set it up on these pedestals like that. Next, I'll take 4 of these little screws and I will use those screws to attach the breakout board to those pedestals in each of the corners. Okay, let's see if I can accomplish this. And you may have to work a little bit to get those in because the holes are a little tight, but not terrible. And when you start to feel a resistance, stop. Probably means you've met the top of the board with the head of the screw, and you don't want to crack the board. There we go. Oops. Hey, that's when you need that. Pliers. Bink. Okay. Dang. Come on. Working it into 4 holes and into the pedestal. One more to go. This corner right here. Okay, so that'll hold everything in place. Now, I'm going to take these 2 wires here and I'm going to insert them into these 2 gates, this one and this one, on the breakout board. Each one is labeled. This one says RST, which stands for reset, and this one says GND, stands for ground. And it doesn't matter which wire goes into which opening. Really doesn't matter. So probably if you've got one that's a little bit more in this direction than the other one, then use that one to go to ground and use the other one to go to RST. These have little gates on them that move up and down. You want to unscrew this screw on top with a small flathead screwdriver. You want to unscrew that until you can see the gate move down. I don't know if you can see it on the camera here. Making it go up and I'm making it go down. Don't have to do it all the way, just big enough, just enough so you can get this small wire in there. So I'm actually going to start with the RST since I don't want that ground wire to be in the way when I'm doing this. So I'll unscrew until I can see a nice opening between the gate and the top. I'll stick the wire in, and my goal is to just have the tip of the wire be caught in this gate and not the insulation around the wire. So I don't stick it in too far. And then I give a little tug just to make sure I got it captured well. Same with this wire. This one's a little bit more of a stretch. You can kind of feel when you've grabbed it, even just turning the screw. All right. I should take it back. I didn't need this at this step. I'm going to use this later on. So ignore everything I said about needing this piece right now. All right, last step is to attach this extension cable for the USB connector, and I'm going to attach it through the back of the Voicet. You can choose other layouts of the base so that the cable goes over here and down through the bottom, or over here and down through the bottom. I just like this one, and this is sort of the default option, is to send it out the back. But if you think that that is going to be a problem, too distracting, then you can send it down through one of these two locations. And that's, you would have to do a custom design for that. Not terrible. Okay, so there's a little indicator right here showing how this cable should be oriented. So I want it with the flat side of the USB down when I insert it into here. First I want to take off those screws, sorry. Use our screwdriver again. And just like the breakout board, you only get 2 of these screws, so don't lose them. Again, flat side down. So we're sending it in this way. And then we use our screws to reattach it. The Phillips head on these are a little bit larger, so you may find it easier to use a little bit larger Phillips head screwdriver to do this, but you can still use the smaller one. But I'm going to switch over. Okay, nice and tight. This isn't going anywhere. And now we're just going to take this guy here, and for now we're going to rotate him around until this side of the USB is up. It's the flat side is up in this case, because that's what the Arduino wants. And we'll take it and gently insert it in this way. And this is the first part of the install. It's all the common components except this one, but we're going to do this one later. And you're ready to move on to testing the work you've done so far. If you want, you can push this cable down and around a bit. I would always hold this end of it so we're not putting too much force on this little jack here. All right, so that's it for this video, and in the next video we'll move on to testing this assembly so far.